Hi, it's the weekend and I'm tuckered out. The engineer and I don't have any plans, no weddings, no baby showers. We hung out with Hazel for the last couple of days and her parents and trick-or-treated, and I just need to get some things done. I mean, I've got projects up to here and I feel like I'm choking on them. That's what this video is going to be all about. I've showed you these tools that I use before, and I'll show them to you again. But I'm going to spend this weekend completing and catching up. I can't wait. It's going to be a fantastic weekend. I'm going to take care of my WIPS, WIPS, or Works in Progress. And I'm going to take care of a bunch of UFOs, unfinished objects. That's what we quilters lovingly call stuff that we still have to do. Let me tell you where I'm starting, because I know you can see my sewing room behind me and the quilt I just finished. I'm going to get behind the camera and show you what I'm dealing with and my sewing room. First, after every project, I clean up my scraps and put them away. And I think that might be part of my weekend. Look right here. This is the fabric on the floor from the quilt over here on the wall. I just kind of threw it there to get it out of the way. I have a big pile of fabric to put away here. This is a project. It's on my list. The desk is a mess. The quilt needs to be put away. There's a quilt over my desk, or over my chair. This is my magic tool. See it? WIPS and UFOs. This is what I have to do. And if you notice, how I use my list is I put every little thing on there. For instance, the sawtooth border, I need to measure and piece the sawtooth border for the quilt. And then another to do is sew it on. And then if you notice, I have extra blocks here because I'm working on 2 customer Grinch quilts. I need to bind 2 customer Grinch quilts. I need to sew 2 pillowcases for my guests. So what I like to do is have all those boxes, because get a little dopamine rush every time I check off a box, and it gets me excited to do the next thing. But what I'm going to do is this list. Am I going to do it in order? Nope, because I've got ADD serious. And you know what's going to happen? I'll get bored with it. But I'm going to use my secret weapon with my list. And this is it. I had a viewer send me these 2 chicken timers right here. Then, this is terrible, April Story sent me one of these, and I think it's this one, or I don't know. Now I have 4 chicken timers. What I like to do is set my timer for a chunk of time. I usually go 20 minutes. I can focus on anything for 20 minutes. And I pick something off of my list and I just put my heart and soul and focus into that for 20 minutes. That's what this weekend's going to be like, and I'm going to film it for you. I am going to start with something easy. I'm jumping right down to the bottom. Fold and hang and measure the bat quilt. And I'm also including Mr. Chillingsworth in that. I'm going to clean that up, put Mr. Chillingsworth away because Halloween is over. Get this on the hanger ready for quilting. Let's go. I'm going to give myself 20 minutes. That 20 minutes went fast, and as you can see, I also cleaned up the fabric from my quilt. Now this is all going in the scrap pile, and the other bigger pieces I saved and put away because I probably want to work them into the backing. What I'm going to do is fold and hang the back quilt, big old fat check mark with a slash through it, man. The alarm went off. I'm writing put away fabric from bat quilt. And I'm going to put a box and I'm going to check that sucker off. As you can see, I have 2 checks on my list and I am starting to clean up. I think what I'm going to do is go down and get some thread, and I'm going to bind this flannel lap quilt and find a home for it. But first, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to get up and walk around, go see what the engineer's doing, use the ladies' room, and come on back. And I am going to bind that flannel blanket. Do you remember this quilt, my triangle quilt? I forgot to put it on the list. As you can see, the binding made the top of the list right here. So I'm starting to get really tired. It is towards the end of Friday, and what I'm going to do is cut the binding for this quilt, which is the same as the backing. And I'm just going to put this quilt in a holding pattern over there. And then this quilt is my little green flannel quilt I was telling you about. Isn't it a cute little quilt? It is 45 by 54. It's truly a lap quilt. So I'm going to put that over there. I think we're going to raise the table and have me stand up. I love my table. Oh, how about that? Yeah. Let me get these bindings done. I'd better set the timer for 20 minutes. Let's see. There we go. So I can tell I'm getting tired because I did all of this cutting and I didn't have the camera turned on. This is for the guest room quilt binding. This is for the triangle quilt binding. And now I'm cutting the binding for the little flannel quilt. Can you hear my blade singing when I cut? Let me cut one more time. And I want you to listen. In fact, I'm going to lean down with my microphone. This is how a blade sounds when it's new. It sings. It's not going to be causing much, if any, harm to your mat. Listen. Did you hear that? My timer's gone off. I'm going to check my list off. Cut binding. It's halfway done because I need to make it. And you know what? I'm going to make mistakes. So I'm going to take my bag down and work on sewing the bottom on, which is on my list. Good morning, YouTube friends. Boy, was I crazy tired last night. I went downstairs to do some hand sewing and promptly fell asleep in the easy chair, crashed, and the engineer just went to bed and left me. So it's very comfy. I slept there all night under 2 quilts. Oh, and this morning I dawdled, but it's 10:15. I'm just having my tea, my morning herb tea in my, have you guys seen my Cinderella mug? Cinderella is my favorite fairy tale. I have several of her books. This morning I'm drinking Chino chocolate tea. Oh, I love it. But last night I got 3 bindings cut out. The one for the flannel quilt that's on the wall behind me, the one for the guest room, which is going to be the 3rd one I do, and this one, the triangle quilt, which will be the 2nd quilt that I bind. So I'm going to make these bindings, get them pressed up, and whip out 3 quilts today. Bada boom. And let me see. I'm going to get as many things as I can get done on my list today. I'm working on that one and that one. I'm going to get a lot done on this list today, so I'd better get going. Now, I don't know about your house, but the weather has certainly changed at my house. You notice I'm wearing a flannel shirt. Oh my, it is, I get cold so easy. Ever since chemotherapy, turn on my Caterpillar light, I get super cold. It's like I lost my heater or something. I think we're in the throes of a very cold fall into winter. In fact, there's snow on the Butte. The Butte is a mountain that overlooks my little valley. People use that to judge their garden. Like, you never plant your garden, especially your tomatoes, until all the snow's off the Butte. Isn't that fun? We have actually been on top of the Butte. We went up one time with a group of people for a Butte run, and we drove our pickup truck. Scared the death out of me. Most people were going up on 4-wheelers, drove the top of this road, this dirt road that was very steep. And then we had a big party on top of the Butte. So it's been up, the snow's been on the Butte for 2 days. It's super, super cold. Just, it's too cold for me. Now this one is going to be ready for pressing. And you know what's going to happen? I'm working with black bindings. I hate black. I hate sewing with black. Do you hate sewing with black, or is it just me? I can never really see, and my eyes are just like totally bugging out of my head. That's why I have my Caterpillar light on. It's warm and it gives just some good light. These, I'm not even going to try and guess the right or the wrong side on this wild print. It's batik and it looks like it's the same on both sides. Also, you might notice that I'm not marking them. Now, I've told you my baseball theory, right? So let me know if you want me to stop talking about it. But if this is new for some of you, you might like this information. When you're working with 2.5-inch wide or narrower pieces, and you want to join them on the bias like you do for a binding, you don't need to mark them. Rather, you keep your eye on the seam or the spot that you're going to end at. Through the magic of our marvelous eyes and brain, it comes out straight. You end up with your thread there every time. So you can't see now, I'm sure, but where they cross at the bottom, right here, that's what I'm looking at. And I'm just keeping my eye on it, and watch what happens. The needle just goes there. It's the baseball theory to me, because it's like watching the ball when it's coming at you with your bat. You keep your eye on the ball and you're able to hit it. That's simple. And my last strip. Always blow the steam out so it comes out of the hose with your Laura Star. Ooh, it's a beautiful day. I am checking off binding the triangle quilt, and it's actually in the washing machine. I'll show it to you by the end of the day. I just can't wait to see if it goes any softer. It's got a lot of dense quilting in it, so it's got some peaks in it. I am going to do the number one on here. I'm going to piece the table runner that Hazel, my granddaughter, put together. First thing I got to do is throw it up on the design wall. And this is just going to be a simple 2-row. So my brain totally hurts. I just did a bunch of quilt math to figure out that literally I just barely have enough to do the sashing. Barely. It's crazy. And then as far as these strips go, I'm going to sew them end to end. I'm not going to sew them on the bias, which I normally would, because I don't have enough. I'm going to connect them like this. I'll just have to deal with that little bit of bulk. But I'm going to sew them all together and cut the strips I need. I ran out of battery in my phone, and so I've moved on. However, I'm going to show you everything I did while my phone was charging, because I do film on my phone. The first thing I did, well, this is the second thing I did. The second thing I did was finish my 4 little pot holders. These are they. I have a video about these, and I was always going to make a couple of sets to give away to my daughters and kids or some friends for Thanksgiving, and I had them cut out but never finished them. So this is the set that I made in the video. The back of them is a kitchen towel. I want to give you a tip on turning this little stem right through here, because it's a bear, but it's going to be inside, and you just reach down with a strong pair of tweezers and pull. And keep pulling until it comes out. That happens pretty fast. What I'm going to do now is top stitch them. These are a light tan, so I was thinking a light tan on the bottom, but I'm just going to do it in the chocolate brown. This is where I opened it up right here. And it's a really cute little pattern. I have the template. I have a link to it. It's a really old video. I'll link it below if anybody wants to whip one of these up for Thanksgiving. But you can look and see. All you need is the template. I did the nut itself patchy and the little cap out of different browns. Oops, I ran off. Let me start over. Okay, let me check a few things off here. Sew and turn for acorn pot holders. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that gets a check in the outside box. And then machine quilt 6, and I've machine quilted 2. This is a quilted one. This is how it looks on the back. I've got to clip the threads yet. What do you think? I've really wanted to do it because the ones I saw were quilted, and it gives it real pot holder status, I guess. This one is a not quilted one, and I think it's kind of cute, all puffy. Nothing on the back but the kitchen towel. So tell me what you think. So this is my table runner. It's a long one, and I like it long. It's going to go on a black entry table and hang over on both of the ends. Here it is close up. Yay, that's done. So I am going to go down here to my list and check that off. Right here, the top one, Peace Leaf Hazel Table Runner. So far, I've gotten 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 items checked off my list, and the day isn't over. But you know what I'm thinking I want to do? I kind of want to make the pillowcases. I have to get my Poppins bag sewn, because I'm going to retreat next week and I'm going to use it. I just have part of the bottom, maybe a third of the bottom to do. I'm not going to go till I can't stand up anymore tonight. I think I'm going to make the pillowcases. Sew 2 pillowcases for the great guest room. And these match my quilt. They're Corey Yoder fabric. So, yep, that's what I'm going to do. The first thing I'm going to do is set my timer for 20 minutes. I know I can get these cut out and started and a good deal of them done. So when you make pillowcases, you need 27 inches. There's some extra that I'll put on my fabric shelf. Okay, that's the body of the pillowcases. This is going to be the cuff. Cuff you cut at 9 inches. Okay, there are 2 cuffs, and then the accent strip. Are you seeing this? Isn't this pretty fabric? It's called Sugar Creek. How old is it? I actually won a fat 1/8 of this in 2017. So I'm guessing that it's about that year. And then for the accent strip, you cut 3 inches. So 3, 9, and 27. If you've never made a pillowcase like this before, this is how you do it. So you lay these together, selvage to selvage on the right-hand side, pop in a few pins, and sometimes when you use fabric that isn't from the same line, the selvages on the end won't line up. That's okay. Again, selvage to selvage. And you put right sides together. Okay. This is where you do the burrito. And then you lay this bad boy on top. Now you're making the burrito. So you have all this fabric stuck in those pins and in that raw seam. You guys know this, don't you? Because you've all made them. I'm going to keep going even though the timer's gone off because I've got this burrito to turn. You start unfolding it and pulling. I'm just doing the last of the seam. And this is one thing I always do. So this is what your seam looks like. It's a French seam. So this is the outside or the inside. And this is the outside. And I always fold my seam down and tailor tack it like so. Just a couple of stitches. It just is easier to fold that way. Okay. I just need to press them and those are done. So 2 pillowcases, guest room here and here and here. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 done. Let's see. I could bind the guest room quilt, but I don't know if I want to bind another quilt right now. You know what I want to do? I want to measure and piece the sawtooth border for the Christmas Village quilt because it's almost December and we need to get that done. I'm going to give these a quick press and start on that. Check it out. I pulled it out of the dryer. I absolutely love this quilt. It is so soft and crinkly. It's very lightweight because I used wool batting on it, for which it's my favorite, you know that. And I'm still working on the list. This is my Poppins bag. I'm taking it to my retreat next week, but first I have to sew this on. So here's how I'm doing it. You'll get a kick out of it. Oh, I don't know. I guess I dropped them. It's this is the last part of it, just sewing the bottom on. So I'm still working on my list, just down here, but I wanted to share that with you. I'm going to continue to work on this list, and when I have this all done, I will check in with you. All right? You saw me last night in my chair sewing away on my bag, and I have to tell you what I have out of it. I have a list that is got 9 out of 21 items done. First, you need to know when I make a list like this, I don't intend to do everything because I'm only human and there's interruptions that happen. Just do the best you can. But I couldn't have done it without my timers. I love my little chicken timers. They are so motivating me to set one and just pound through and see what I can do in 20 minutes. You ought to try it too. But if 20 minutes is too much, adjust it to 10, or maybe give yourself half an hour. Give yourself 30 minutes. So thank you to the viewers and to April's Story for sending me these cute chicken timers. Now I can truly be Sister Chicks. Let's review everything I did. Let's see, going down first. I want to talk to you about washing the quilt. I always talk about color catchers. Now, there's 2 brands of color catchers out there. One is Shout brand. The other one is Carnuba, C-A-R-N-U-B-A. It's in a yellow box. And these are the color catchers I used when I washed the quilt. They just kind of went gray. They didn't go really black like I've seen some others go. And I used tin. I just because it's a brand new quilt, never been washed, and that black on it, the black on it is just so saturated. However, remember, this is a batik and it's already washed a lot. So maybe that's why it didn't bleed as much. But, oh, I so love this quilt. Truthfully be told, you know, I'm in the same shirt. I did it. I totally fell asleep in the recliner. It lays back. Oh my gosh, it's so comfortable. I was snuggled under this quilt all night, and I just have to report, it works. It was very warm. It has wool binding in it. See how crinkly it is? I love it. And that one's staying with me. So the binding of it, and then the cutting and making of all the binding that I did was another check. And this is a big check off. I've got the leaf table runner pieced and ready to quilt. I think it's so darling. And you know what? Every time I look at it, I think of Hazel. It's going to be mine and hers together. One day her mommy told me she just might steal it, but I made it extra long so it will like drape on top of my table like this and down the sides. I thought that would be fun at the entryway. And I'm probably going to have it up. Well, I won't have it up this week because guess what? I'm going on retreat on Wednesday. What else do I have on here? Oh, my 2 pillowcases that match the quilt in my sewing room. These are always so much fun, so fast, and so easy to make. I think that quilt is going to be gorgeous on my guest bed. When I get it all done, I'll take a picture, but let me tell you, there's a lot that has to be done in that room. It's got to be painted. Some shelves have to be finished. I also got, oh, the acorn pot holders. Tell me, please make sure and comment if I should quilt them like this one is or leave them puffy like this one is. In any event, they are going to be very cute to give away for hostess gifts for Thanksgiving, and you can guess who's going to get a set of them, I'm sure, because I have 3 sets. Is that all? I have 3 sets. So anyway, happy Thanksgiving to me and to, well, you know, they watch it, so I'm not going to say anything. The flannel quilt. I've got this bound. I do need to report that my son said, Mom, it's not really his style. Okay? He said the size was okay, but it's not really our neighbor's style. So I'm going to take it down to one of the care centers in my town and ask them to give it to an elderly gentleman who maybe is always cold and does a lot of sitting. It'll be perfect for him. Then I got the back quilt folded and off my wall. It's out there in the quilting studio, ready to be quilted. I'm excited to get that done. I have, let's see, I have 8 Halloween quilts left to make for my family, and that is going to be fun. Hopefully I get them done by next summer for vacation so I can give them all to them. Oh, look what I have on the back of my paper. I'm carrying the pattern around still, I noticed. Then I put away all that fabric. That is always good to put away. But the pièce de résistance that I want to show you is my finished Poppins bag. It is sewn all the way around the bottom. And I'm going to use it when I go on retreat this week. I am so excited. Now, I made this out of ghastly fabric, so there's fun ghastlies on it. The one thing I didn't do, it has you put fabric tags on for zipper pulls, and I chose not to do that. I'm going to kind of look for my own zipper pulls. The inside of my bag, I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's from the same fabric line. This is Ghastly's Getaway. Okay, look at this guy. The red-headed guy on the chair, or what's he on? Oh, on the unicycle. He looks just like Raina, who you've seen in some of my videos. He looks like Raina's dad, so we call him Jeff. This is Jeff. But I love Ghastly's fabric. I always have, and now I have a bag made out of it. And this is one of my favorite characters, is the guy in the airplane flying that way. So too much fun. I'm going to enjoy and love this bag. I'm also going to take it with me when I go to QuiltCon in February. But I'm worried about checking it overhead because those bins are so dirty. I may have to have a bag in a bag because I don't want to get it dirty. Anyway, this has been such a fun UFO WIP weekend. I got all of this stuff out of it and a very sore finger from sewing my Ghastly bag because I was doing a lot of pulling. But oh my, was it ever worth it. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I hope you enjoy this video and our chat that we're going to have when I release it as a premiere. I hope you enjoy this video. I do want to announce that this Saturday, and I'll put up a thumbnail so you can see, I'm going to go live at my quilt retreat. I've talked to all the ladies. Several of them will pop in or pop out, but it's going to be this Saturday, probably 11-ish Mountain Time on my channel. So until then, remember the great fun surprise to keep watching my channel, and I'll be putting out more videos. I'll see you then. Bye.